Hello and welcome to another episode of May the Code Be With Us with KSP Rp-1. So I will be doing a post commentary along with live commentary for today's episode for reasons that I will go into in a little bit. But today we're trying to break the sound barrier with a crewed aircraft. There's also an X-Planes mission that I just need to hold a certain altitude for 3 minutes, so we will also attempt to do that and see how many altitude records we can get. So here I am just setting off the cockpit. I'm going to fly this from the inside the cockpit, and I'll let the live narration play for this. But anyways, let's take off. So the trick to taking off with this aircraft is to wait until I'm past 120 meters per second in speed, then try to pull up, because at about 100 meters per second it will pull up, but then it will immediately nosedive and crash. We don't want that. Okay, time to pull up, don't move too much. So it oscillates a lot, but the trick is just maintain that prograde vector above the horizon, and that's all we need. And as we pick up speed, it starts behaving better. Okay, so after that wobbly start we're airborne, and well, let's talk about why I'm doing post commentary. It was a really stupid mistake that I did. The keen out of you would have noticed already that I tend to record these episodes in pieces, and it might take me several days to record an episode, in between some crashes that I tend to have, and also the fact that I cut a lot of the, let's say, downtime, or just the time it takes for rockets to fall back to Earth or glide back under a parachute and such. So it takes a lot longer than the actual video time to record one of these episodes. And when I started recording this particular part, I was under the impression that I had already recorded an intro for this episode, so I just started talking about it directly. And also, on the other hand, you will probably have noticed that my audio has a lot of noise in it, and that's because the program that I use to record the audio, it's not great. It gets a lot of noise. And the first episodes that I recorded for my previous series, I was using the same program for the video and the audio, and that it recorded my audio properly, but to record both the audio and the audio from the game and my voice, I needed to record it through, like, just let the audio from the game played in the speakers, and then for the microphone to record that as well, and it sounded terrible. So now I'm curious if recording separately my voice and the game audio with the same program might sound better. Then I might try making more post commentary, and then just doing live commentary during the key moments, like I'm going to do today. But I've also tweaked my microphone settings, so that might help clean up some of the noise if I use my normal audio recording software, but we will see. So right now we're just coasting, and I'll come back when either we're at altitude for the contract or we have just completed the X-Planes contract. Okay, so yeah, I forgot I recorded this part a while back, and I forgot that my plan was to do the altitude records and break the sound barrier contract first, and then gliding back down to just do the X-Planes contract, which I was fairly confident I could glide this, I could maintain this aircraft in a 1000 meter range just by gliding it for 3 minutes. So right now the jet engines are about to run out of fuel, and I'll let the live commentary play for this. There we go. We did not lose wings there, nope. So this is what it looks like without the extra hardware for the wing, for jet flight mode. Looks a lot better, honestly. Okay, so we're picking up speed. Let's start climbing a little bit. I think this angle is good. Stabilized again. And yeah, unfortunately those jet engines will fall into the jungle or something. I'm not really role playing the whole public safety thing as much as I should. But okay. I should really try, because right now the way I have the Space Center oriented is just how it ended up when I created the launch site. But I really should figure out, we're supersonic by the way, I should figure out how to reorient it so that it's facing east, because right now once we start flying into orbit, launching due east, we'll have the rockets flying right over the Space Center, which is not ideal. We're dropping stages and such, especially if I use like short duration solid rocket boosters on a rocket or something. So yeah, we have the speed record for, this should be, well, let's just look up all the contracts after the run. Right now I should focus on getting speed and altitude. We want as many records as possible. Okay, so that's the 30 seconds of supersonic flight. Now, I think I remembered, but let me double check. I am taking Yes, supersonic flight analysis. We're more than halfway into this experiment. It has taken bloody ages. And probably should turn this off, but it's... I tested it and I don't think they take any extra electricity, or at least not a significant amount. So I'm good with letting them run. The roll control is way too sensitive in this aircraft. I should have lowered the sensitivity of the control surfaces. Now the next record is 600 meters per second. Hopefully we can get there. We're at 500, but it's falling, so... yeah, 10-degree climb seems to be the best of both worlds. Keeping it that way, it's a bit harder than just saying it like that. Yes, double assist. Kilometer record altitude and 600 meters per second record. Oh good, oh good. And we're starting to run low on fuel. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get to 30 kilometers and 900 meters per second. Well, right now speed is increasing quite, so let's go for more aggressive. No, not quite. Yep, I lost some speed there. I don't know if I get another contract for 25 kilometers, but we got there. And that's it. Apogee says it's 29 kilometers. I don't know if to continue. We do have a lot of speed, so we might be able to pull up, but I don't want to lose too much speed or worse, lose control. Throttle down. Yeah, looks like we're going to make it. 30 kilometers, perfect. Let's pitch down. And now, since we have the... oh, I don't want to land, well, like end up in the ocean. So let's maybe give it a lazy turn to the left. I want to maintain supersonic speed as much as possible just for the supersonic speed analysis. But now the trick is, once we get, I want to get to 5,100 meters in altitude with a decent speed for the X-Planes contract. I need to glide it from 5,100 to 4,100 in 3 minutes. And if at any point during those 3 minutes I go too low or too high, it resets the counter, so I really need to avoid that. Let me take another quick save here. So, having broken the sound barrier and a few altitude records, now it was time to test my gliding skills and also the gliding skills of this aircraft by holding the required altitude for 3 minutes. So I nosedived quite a bit to gather a decent amount of speed, and then I'll also let the live narration play for the duration of that flight. Oh, I nosed down too much to try to get speed, but now, yeah, I went too far down. I need to try to start from 5,000 meters and then just get a very light glide slope down going on. This seems like a good attitude. Is the counter going down? Yes. We got a grand total of 0.5 science points from supersonic flight analysis, so I guess that's something. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're not going to be getting a lot of science from this mission, but the funds are good, like are up to 140, and that still doesn't count the supersonic flight contract that I need to land first for it to count. But yeah, let's see, 350 meters per second, 15 kilometers, 20, 600 meters per second, 25, and 30. Not bad. Let's arm the parachute before I forget about it, like that previous episode with the suborbital return contract. That was stupid. Okay, let's try to slow down or descent speed a little bit. We still have a decent speed, but we're getting close to the bottom barrier of the contract. This plane wobbles around too much, but I'm not going to do a better job of controlling this than the stability assist. One more minute. We're going very... oh, and that's not going to help. We're going very slow for this airplane now, so yeah, that's not going to help control it. We're pretty close to stalling, I'm sure, but 20 more seconds. 20 more seconds. Ah, I hate this game. Okay, I was quick saving, so let's just bring that up. Okay, I'm back after my crash, and well, I'm hoping, because the past times I've done this, sometimes the plane flips out of control. Now it's okay because I already have the parachute armed, so we won't crash, but we were very close to our bottom limit of the X-Planes contract, and only like 20 seconds to go, so hopefully I will be able to keep it above the limit. Let's see. Nope, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Up, 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 up. Nope. Okay, yeah, that worded it. Ah. Let's see if I can regain control. No, we're in spin. We're in a spin. There, there, there. Check to see, yes, the parachute is armed. So let's see how we're doing. Yeah, that's the parachute. Let's turn stability assist off and let this glide us down. Landing gear. So yeah, we did not get it, fortunately. So I think I forget how long I have to fulfill this one. So maybe I'll just get Valentina to fly out on a trainer aircraft to take care of this. Unless the money's just not worth it, then I'll just forget about it. Like if I have to rush build the trainer aircraft. Okay, it's just going to keep doing that, so let's finish this from the outside. But yeah, if I have to rush build the trainer aircraft, then it probably won't be worth it anyways. And I'll just let the contract expire. But yeah, I'll just come back when this thing touches ground just to show that nothing fell off, hopefully. That's it. Okay, 30 minutes out, 30 minutes, meters out, 4.3 seconds, and we're a bit nose heavy, but that's nothing should be broken here. Yep, all good, perfect. And we got a good amount of funds. And reputation as well, that's also good. So after that fiasco, it was time to go for the 3,000 kilometer downrange contract. And for that, I built the Rp-1. So my after this, I'm going to be naming my launchers, and my naming convention is going to be like in my last series, based on movie, book, and video game AIs. So Giscard is a robot from the robot series from Isaac Asimov. And I think the reason I chose this name was because he was one of the first robots. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, he was one of the characters. And this is still not going to be an orbital rocket. It doesn't have enough delta V, but it's going to be the predecessor, since the first orbital rocket will probably be slightly bigger. Well, probably the first stage will be the same size, and then just more upper stages to be able to get into orbit. This was also on the very limit of the mass that I could launch from the standard launch pad, the initial launch pad. Fortunately, I had already been building the level 2 launch pad, and that should be ready quite soon. So this is the RD-102 engine at the bottom. And then I'm just checking, yeah, AJ10s for the second stage. It's 3 engines, 3 AJ10s for the second stage. And yeah, just 2 stages for this. So time to launch it, and let's see what happens. So the rocket had been rolled out. I was ready to launch this. And I've been rewriting my sounding rocket script every time I launch a new rocket, just to not have a bunch of sounding rocket scripts lying around in my folder. And I had to check that all the parameters were perfect for this one, and decided to run it in a little bit, partly. So there it goes. It ignites the engine and it immediately cuts off, because I checked all the parameters except the time it took for it to change to check the throttle. So I always have a throttle check, so in case one of the engines fails to ignite on liftoff, it kills the script, so that I don't just lose a rocket because it could not take off. But unfortunately, the previous rocket I launched with this script was with the AJ10s, which spool up really quickly, and I left just 1 second of spool time. And I think this the RD-102 needs 4 seconds to spool up to full throttle. So yeah, it read it that the thrust was below the minimum to lift off and kill the script. 3 seconds. I changed there to 3 seconds. So fortunately, this does not cost me money, but it does cost me days, because the game doesn't allow me to roll back and just add more ignition fluid, and that's it. So I had to recover the rocket that basically takes it apart and have to build it again. So I'll come back with that launch. Okay, almost 1 year later in game, take 2. Unfortunately, for this version of Rp-1, Scrapyard was removed as like support for Scrapyard, because it was to prevent people from attempting reusability with 1950s technology, which fair enough. But unfortunately, it means that if you get like, okay, mine was a particularly stupid case, but if you get a failure that the engine doesn't ignite, you cannot just roll back, fix the engine, and roll it back up again. It's basically you have to dismantle the rocket and reassemble it. So you don't lose any money, but you do lose a lot of time, unfortunately. But well, I fixed the code. Hopefully, I did not test it again. I never learn. But we're off. And we're turning, so yes, everything is working as planned. Okay, so that's Miko, and now because the aerodynamics are quite strong still at this altitude with this speed, and I don't have any fins on the second stage, I'm waiting to I think 90 kilometers to fire up the second stage. There's a weird thing going on with the aerodynamics of procedural tanks that the center of lift goes way up, so even putting fins over here, I would have needed massive fins to control this thing, and it's better to just do it this way. Okay, so that's all the fuel spent, and we got another record, 5,000 meters per second. Excellent, good funds, good funds. So now the whole thing, I put this a bit higher than in my tests, and it could be that what might have been pointing a bit too high an angle, because if you factor in the curvature of the Earth, at least according to the wiki, the optimal angle to go is at 30 degrees instead of 45. And we're pointing higher than 45, so let's see. Either way, we're going to get also 700 and 900 kilometers records, so this rocket is going to pay for itself either way. Okay, so we're almost at apogee. We're more than halfway there as far as downrange distance, so this is looking promising. And we're getting lots of funds from records. Oh, it's 800. Perfect. Well, I wanted to not launch things over Mexico, and I ended up launching them over Haiti. Yeah, oops. It's a really tough spot. Like, if it was a real thing, like making a spaceport in Mexico, I honestly don't know where we could put one. That I mean, obviously for launching to the ISS or something, launching, it would be a very narrow like margin of error to launch maybe from the south of the Yucatan Peninsula and in this direction, but it's there's a lot of islands here, so yeah. And we're about to get there with still quite some distance to spare, so this rocket was more than enough for the task. And there it is. We have officially unlocked the first orbital satellite contract. And we got a good amount of money. Very good amount of money. You see? So I'm going to follow this down to its death because we still have I don't know. It doesn't say how much it's missing for supersonic flight analysis. It's only going to be a couple of seconds though in between entering the atmosphere and well, no, not a couple, like 20 seconds maybe. But yeah, I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch this rocket again, maybe with upgrade the tanks. I want to get more telemetry data on the engine before attempting an orbital contract, since those do have like time limit. So I'm going to launch it straight up to go for the other altitude records, get a little bit more money. And yeah, I think next episode will be an orbital launch. So finally we get to the exciting stuff. I followed the rocket back to its all the way to its doom, and I said just now that I would build the orbital rocket, the geese cart, to whether just launch it straight up, but I think I'm just going to skip that and go straight for orbit. I already have it still needs tweaking. It's lacking a little bit of delta V still, but the end design of the geese cart will probably be like a three-stage rocket, the Rd-1 at the bottom, then 5 AG-10s in the second stage and 3 in the last stage. No, sorry, 8 AG-10s in the second stage and 5 in the third stage. So it will probably be nicknamed the Test Light Taunter because, yeah, it's asking for a failure with so many engines. But let's see how it goes. So that will be next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.